Very good. So, Baruch Hashem, this is Parashat Yitro. And it's very unique parasha because we see that Yitro, he was the Pope of the non-Jews. And it says in the Mefarshim that there wasn't one type of Avodah Zarah that he didn't do. He was the worst of the worst. And Mr. Yitro turned from being the worst of the worst in the eyes of Hashem to having his own parasha. Not only to have his own parasha, marry to the royal family. Not only to marry to the royal family, he has his own parasha in the parasha, meaning that there's it's not only that it's named after him, there's also a section where Moshe asked, where he went and he advised Moshe to tell Moshe that you should appoint, you should have other people under you that you teach. You shouldn't go and deal all the laws that are the more complex. That's exactly what happened if we see in our days, where if Peninei Mamonot, whenever it comes to money matters, you need to go in front of 3 judges. When it comes to capital offenses, you have to be in front of 23 judges. And when it comes to offenses against, let's say, national interest or very, let's say, technical subject, right? Let's say the Zaken Mamre, there's a rabbi that went against everybody, and then what do we have to do with them? So these people, they go to the Sanhedrin with 71 judges, right? So this is, but it doesn't go according to the quantity, it goes according to the quality, right? So let's say nowadays you go to court, Lehavdin, it's going to go, how much? Is it under 15,000? You go to small claims court, but it doesn't matter. Because the case can be very, very complex. So what does it change the amount? So the Torah doesn't go like this. It goes according to what is the justice. And therefore, it could be that Moshe is going to deal with a $100 case instead of a $1 billion case, because the $100 case is much more complex than the $1 billion case. So obviously say that Moshe, what does he straighten in the beginning of Pasha? Vayishma Yitro. And we know that the word Shema doesn't mean to hear, but it doesn't mean to listen, it means to hear. What does it mean to hear? To hear in the sense of understanding. Meaning it's not, there's maybe it's more listening, right? If you listen, because you can hear things, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to apply those things that you hear, right? So maybe it's the actual word listening. But nevertheless, is Vayishma Yitro means that he heard and he went and he did, he took matters into his own hand. And that's why we have to learn from Yitro that when you see something that's, how is it possible? This nation is stuck in Egypt. Hashem went, he did all these miracles for them. The whole world knew. The sea went and split. Everyone knew about it. And therefore, how is it possible that Hashem did for this nation? And that's why I see that Hashem is greater than all these other gods. So therefore, it's fitting for me to put all this garbage on the side and to serve Hashem. And why was it so incredible, the last Makkah? Because after it was Makkah Bechorot, there was this mitzvah of Korban Pesach. Now, Korban Pesach, imagine now you're in that time. There's a Paro comes to you, tells you, hey, Yaakov, Naftali, what is this sheep that you have by your bed? So, hey, Mr. Paro, don't worry. In 4 days, we're going to do a big barbecue. Oh, really? With what? With the sheep. So there was something incredible that happened. And why did Hashem have to do it like that? So before we already spoke about this, where it was something to put the gods of let's say in a way, not only to mock, but it was like to say that Hashem is the one that's in charge. He's the one that has the power. But I heard something very interesting from Rabbi Singer today. He was saying that there's something even more incredible. It's because it was a way to put the fear, the belief in Hashem, higher than the fear of the people that persecute you. Imagine, because that's what it was. It was, okay, I'll do the sacrifices, but I don't have to do it here. We can do it in the meatball. Why did Hashem have to make it here in a barbecue? Well, we're doing a show here. Everyone's going to smell at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's do it at night. No, everyone's sleeping. No, we're doing it like that. But it's not we're doing like that. It's because the Jews, they had a love and they had a fear and a faith in Hashem that was higher than the fear of the Goyim. And that's why it was a very, very high level. And that's why till today, it's one of the only 2 mitzvot that if a person doesn't do in his lifetime, he's cut off from the Jewish people. Now, we know about Bet HaMikdash. So for us,
telling me that they were.
No, so for us,
God-fearing, that their fear of Hashem was stronger than the fear of the.
no, but this is what now we know that it's not everybody that went out. There's a good chunk that stayed in Makat Choshen. But let's say the people that were able, exactly, but let's say the people that were going to leave, they built on their emunah to do something like that. You know, sometimes
I thought at the sea they said these are like this, these are like this. They're the same. They prayed that they compared us even to the
right. Very good. So this is what happened with Chazak. So the Gemara brings that the Hashem the sea they want to open. So the world should open for these
what's
people.
so good about you?
Yeah, what's so good? You're right. I'm going to go on. So Hashem said, don't worry. Because when they're going to come out, you're right. For now, you're right. You're the same. You're not the best. But when they're going to go in Mount Sinai, they're going to get the Torah. That's all goes back to what is our purpose. You know, we were doing the class here with the kids. And what's funny, because when I was saying these things, I'll tell you something incredible. Rabbi Victor was saying, this week, you know, there was the water damage and everything. That everything gets settled nicely with the insurance. So what happened? We were maybe at the beginning 6 kids. 6 kids. What are we going to do with 6 kids? So what is the normal feeling that you have? You know what? We do this. If there's only 6 kids. But Baruch Hashem, that same day I was reading from Rabbi Victor Miller. He's a very special rabbi. And he was saying, you know, when I'm giving you guys a class, I'm giving this class first and foremost for myself, for me to listen to what I'm saying. And when you guys are here, you guys are tagging along with my thoughts and with my ideas. But it doesn't mean that I'm just saying it and then without trying to internalize it. So what were we saying? We're talking about what is the purpose? What is the purpose of Hashem taking us out of Egypt? So we're making some jokes with the kids. Is the purpose that we get out so we're able to go and eat ice cream and banana and watermelon all day? And they're saying no, back and forth. So we're talking about that everything has a purpose in life, right? We're talking this has a purpose. This cup has a purpose for water. This has a purpose to sit on. Everything has a purpose. But all of a sudden, the human being that has more than 300 trillion connections in his brain. That's higher than all the internet connections in the world. All of a sudden, this one is the only thing in the world without a purpose. That's the problem. And that's why our job is to look what is our purpose. But Baruch Hashem, the work was done for us. So we just have to follow. We don't have to go and redo the work. And the purpose of the Jewish people to come out, like you said, there's no difference. This is Nevela and this is Tchefa, right? Okay, at the end, it might not be the same name, but it's both not so good. No, the reason why they're going to come out is because they're going to go on Har Sinai and accept the Torah. Yes, they're going to go and accept the Torah on Har Sinai. So you're right. For now, you're right. 100%.
They're still prepared.
And even Moshe, it says, V'zelecha ot. And Moshe asked Hashem, he said, he said, Hashem, give me a sign. So my father was giving a shoe on this. He was like, what do you mean you give me a sign? It wasn't give me a sign don't give me a sign because I already know Hashem, I believe in you. I know that, but give me a sign that you want to take out the Jewish people. Not give me a sign that for me that I should know that I should take them out. No, give me a sign that you for sure you want to take them out. Because what is the difference here? So Hashem was saying, and although it's interesting because culturally we were different. That's why I do have to be careful. At least with these things, external things, eventually they affect the internal things. But if he doesn't even do the external things, right? You know, the problem is that Yitzhak, that's how he works. He always wants to make you feel, what, really going to go put a...
The Jews in Egypt weren't... They were separate from all the Goyim?
No, so we were separate from the Goyim. It wasn't... we had different... We kept our language, we kept our clothing, we kept our names. So these things made us we had very nice names and very good names, right? And it made a big impact. However, even though we were separated from the Goyim, we were still under this influence. We were still not. We didn't have this learning of the Torah, like in the sense from the Avot. That there was a sending. We weren't doing a lot of things, right? Even it says that at the time we started doing Brit Milah, so we weren't. So they didn't do Brit Milah for like hundreds of years, right? So it was also interesting because also we have a rule that for Brit Milah, if you're in times of Sakana, It's not so simple, right? Even for a boy, if we know that, let's say 2 times there was let's say you had 2 brothers and 2 brothers died from the Brit Milah. So for the third one, we don't do a Brit Milah for him. Because we have a chazakah, and chazakah, when it comes to a danger, it's 2 times, not 3 times, right? So we don't do it. But nevertheless, so what do we see? Just to answer your question, is that the sea opened because that was the purpose of the Jewish world to eventually go on Har Sinai, and that's why a Jew should not look at himself. Oh, if you look to a Jew, he's going to tell you, oh, I'm proud to be Jewish. Oh, really? You're proud to be Jewish, Mr. Jew? Why? Oh, we're educated people, and we're smart, and we give donations. So all this is true, and it's good. But that's not what makes you special. That's not what makes you important. That's not what makes you different than the rest of the world. What makes you different than the rest of the world? That Hashem chose you to give you the Torah, to make you His nation, to make you special. That's what your difference. Now, if you're not going to do it, that's why yesterday we're learning in the laws of marriage, right? So now, if someone's going to tell you, oh, how is it fair? You see the Jews, you guys are, with non-Jews, not married. It says someone who lets his daughter marry an Am, someone who doesn't do any Torah, he doesn't know Torah, doesn't learn, he's not careful with mitzvot. So this guy, it says it's like giving your animal to it's like giving your daughter to an animal. So it says like that. Oh, but he's Jewish. Yeah, because we don't. It's not only about where you come from. It's true that there's a mala in it. And sometimes you're going to see a Jew, you're going to say, oh, this is possible. This guy, I know this guy used to do this and this and that. Now he's doing Shas. How's it possible? What was the switch? Because he has a Jewish neshama. So of course there is a mala in it. But just to say that there's a mala in it without any work or any effort is not enough. Okay? So this was the introduction. And what do we have in Parashat Yitro? We have the 10 Commandments. Right? So let's go through the 10 Commandments very quickly. The first commandment is Anochi Hashem Elohecha asher hotzitecha me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am the Lord your God who took you out of Egypt. This is my relationship with you. I care about you. You're stuck in problems, I'm going to come help you. Even today, you're stuck in problems, you have issues. I can tell you countless miracles, I have evidence, whatever you want. Crazy things. I have to go to court with the guy. The guy shows up with the document I need. There's 2 documents that we needed that we're talking about. One document that I need, one document that I don't need. And he only comes with the document that I need. The other one, he forgot about it. Oh, then we're in court. We're like, hey, what's happening with the other document? Oh, I forgot about it. And the judge's like, okay, look, we don't have time now to deal with this. This one is good. Yallah, go. So, countless of stories. And we see how the Hashgacha of Hashem. And someone can be the exact opposite. Everything he does, boom, has to be difficult, and he has to go, and he has to try. Baruch Hashem. Anyways, that's the first mitzvah. Anochi Hashem Elohecha, just to believe Hashem is our God, took us out of Egypt. Number 2, Lo yelecha Elohim achrim al panai. You don't have to have any other gods. No images, no nothing. Third thing, no shituf, not a rabbi, not a dead rabbi, no nothing that's connected, and this is the way that I'm going to get closer to Hashem. All this is nonsense. You straight with Hashem. There's no in between. You have the same responsibility as the rabbi here, as anyone here.
People put pictures of rabbis.
No. Jeremy, you put pictures of rabbis because these are your heroes. I was opening it, where was saying, who do you want? If you're going to put pictures of rabbis in your house, it shows your children, it shows yourself. Who are your heroes? Who do you want to get close to? People that are close to Hashem, people that are A+ on their service of Hashem and the way that they live their lives, right? You don't want to put, LeBron James on your wall. What is it going to bring you? Of course, he did good in basketball, but that's not, basketball's basketball. And it's not going to bring you to Olam Haba. Very good. That's number 2. Number 3 is what? Do not say Hashem's name in vain. That's why with brachot, you have to be careful. If you don't remember if you made a bracha or not, you don't say the bracha again. You don't use the name of Hashem just to say, oh, I swear to all the time. People, most of the time when they do that, they lie. I swear on the Torah. Okay, for sure I know you're lying. How much did you pay for it? Actually, I'm losing money, right? These people. That's number 3. Number 4 is Shabbos. Shamor et Yom HaShabbat Likadesho. And then there's another one in Beit Hanan, Zachor et Yom HaShabbat Likadesho. And it says that these 2 came together, that you have a mitzvah to Zachor, to honor the Shabbat, and you have a mitzvah of Shamor et Shabbat. Right? And this is number 4. So the 3 first ones is believing that there's Hashem, not doing Avodah, not saying his name in vain, meaning not to Chaz Hashem say, of course, bad things. It includes also the bad things, Chaz Hashem to be blasphemous. But at the same time, to be careful, with Kabbalah of Hashem. And the number 4 after the list, Shabbos. This is non-negotiable. Then you have the 5th one is now the question, Jeremy. What's the question? So what we have 5 means what on the right side, 5 means what on the left side. 5 means what they are between us and Hashem, right? Those are the means what. If a person keeps Shabbos or not, he doesn't keep Shabbos. What does that have to do with another Jew? It's you and Hashem. So although there is a spiritual element to it. Yeah, so what are the parents? Then the other side is what? Lo tirtzach, don't kill. Lo tinaf, do not commit adultery. Lo tignov, do not steal. Do not kidnap. Yeah, it's not kidnap. Do not kidnap, because it wouldn't make sense to have not to steal there, because not to steal is not a capital offense, right? So lo tignov, do not kidnap someone, and then it says lo tachmod. Lo ta'aneh be'echad shaker. Do not be a false witness. Do not be a false witness. You know, one time it happened to me. What?
People say not if you make up a story or whatever, or you weren't there.
Right.
And they disqualify you. It's okay if they warned you. It's okay.
There you go. But also, have to be very careful. Whenever someone tells you, "Oh yeah, just come, please help me," you gotta take money from someone. Comes a shtick. The best to avoid real issues is to do everything to get away from it. It happened to me once that there was a case, and the rabbi told me, yes, no, you have to go mitzvah.
Go what?
To go it was touching to this idea, not to be exactly 100% honest. It was a whole mess situation, and I was diving to Hashem, please, because it doesn't matter. Even if you have it's like it's like you have a job, right? What's your job? Is to give tickets to people. Okay, the guy, it's true, it's 10 minutes late, he didn't pay. You have to give him a ticket, but why should it be you the one responsible for giving the ticket? Yeah, the next day I'll give him a ticket. I have to be responsible to make someone's life, give a problem to someone's life. So that's why Hashem, and then we were in court all day, and then Hashem made a miracle that it just never happened. That's it. It was over. We're all there, and then the judge dismissed the case. It was too long, and then I didn't have to do anything. So Baruch Hashem. But you see, even in the case where you had, how the rabbi says, no problem, it's a mitzvah, you have to, it's a pikuach nefesh, whatever the case is, the best is to run away as fast as possible, even for a doubt, and even if there's not going to be any elements that will make the other person's wrong. This is a horrible sin, you're diverting from justice. You can divert in this world, but Hashem, even in this world, He's the one mashgiach, He's the one in charge. So a person, Hashem will see, this guy, it says, the Rambam says, if someone knocks on doors for money, it says, and he doesn't need the money. It says, it's guaranteed that by the time he will get old, he will be older, that he will actually become poor and will need the money. There's no such thing that he will knock and go be a ganav, and then after, no, you will need. So it will turn to be on him. It's like someone who was raising money for, I'm not saying it's going to happen in every case, but it's an interesting case. Was raising money for his daughter, for his deaf daughter. He didn't even have a daughter. And then a few years later, he had a daughter, and she was deaf. So it was like, that can get me there. You see the guy, he's trying, you can see in everyone, you can see many people, the way they do business, you see, they're so high, doing all kind of shit, boom. A few years later, you see what happened with them. That's not the case anyways. Here, that's number, so we did all the mitzvot. The last one, lo tahmod. Lo tahmod, very important. Do not envy. Don't envy your friend's wife, your friend's animals, your friend's money. Whatever you have, Hashem gave you, and you should be happy with whatever you have. Whatever he has is good for him. If you would have these things, it would have been not good for you. You have what's good for you. Understand? That's why this idea always, why didn't I? So it's very big, serious, and not Ahmad. And now we go back to why you have Shabbos there. Shabbos, Kibbutz Avayim. What does that have to do? Right, what? The Kibbutz Avayim is on the side of Hashem. And really it is. Why? Because it says in the Gemara, that it says whoever honors his parents, Hashem counts it as if he was honored himself. And my grandfather Zechron Levacha used to say kabed. What is the gematria of kabed? Right? We get into numbers. What's kabed? Kaf. What's kaf? 20. Bed 2. Dalet 4. Now I know you're great in math. What's together? Kav Bet Dalet
22 and 4, 26.
26. Hashem's name. So it's a kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. When a person honors his father and mother, it's as if he honors HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is one of the few mitzvot that tells you that when you're going to do them, you're going to have a long life. So it's a very, very important mitzvah. And Hashem,
one of the only ones there's an attachment, there's a reward.
Right. There's two mitzvot like that. There's one with a reward that's attached. There's another one with shiluach haken. And why does it give you them two? The answer, it doesn't make sense. One, kibbutz avayim, is one of the hardest mitzvot. It's very hard.
I think it's send the bird away. It's not hard. It's easy, no?
Yeah, exactly. Honoring your parents is very hard.
Harder than the bird, yeah.
Oh, no, it's much harder because I'll tell you something. Because without the Torah, we're nothing. I'm serious. Even people, you speak with people, they don't even know what's honor. What does it mean to honor your parents?
You call them, I don't know.
Yeah, you call them. Hey, Joe, how are you? You want to go for pizza? Okay, very good.
That's not honor?
No, who's Joe? He's your father. You understand? And then that's also what when my father takes care of me, sends me to the best schools, he pays for my education, he does everything. Okay, I'll take you for a slice of pizza. What if your father's not like that? Puts you down, he gives you a smack here and there, and he wasn't the best. No, I'm not saying he's abusing you, because then there's also, if he's going to be abusive dad, then you have to run away. But I'm saying, let's say he's not the easiest dad. Criticize you. Why you have this shirt like that? You should have put in a blue shirt. Why you have your coat? You couldn't buy a better coat. The coat looks, Then he has a comment for everything. Now this dad that makes you problems and he talks back to you and he insults you. He's the father that Torah tells you have to honor, right? Because your father that gives you a blank check. Don't worry, this one is easy to make kibbutz avayim, right? But that's why I'm saying that this mitzvah we have to go. What are the gdarim? What are the guidelines of how a person has to honor? So it's a very difficult mitzvah. Very difficult. It says you have to go door knocking. You don't have money now to take care of your parents. You have to go door knocking to find money to give them food and take care of them. So it's a crazy mitzvah. And now you get long life. And actually, you walk on the street. There's a bird nest. It doesn't belong to you. It's hefker. It's on the street. Hey, there's this egg. There's a mother. You don't want to take the eggs. You want to take the eggs. You don't want to hurt the mother. You say the mother, bye. You take the eggs and you go. That's it. You get a long life. Very good, easy. So now, what's the thing? And the Mefarshim explained some of the reasons for that is very simple. It's because the Torah wants to tell you that sometimes you can have a mitzvah that's going to be very hard, and some mitzvah that's going to be very simple, but we do not know the reward of the mitzvot. No, we don't.
We don't know how much Hashem values it.
Yeah, exactly. Because here we're going to know, but you both get the same reward. How is that possible? And that's the same thing for all the other mitzvot. It can be maybe doing this mitzvah tzisif, maybe the mitzvah of going to the grave and bury the dead, maybe the mitzvah of chesed. No, so
613 is not.
Yeah, so it could be this mitzvah. And also, the beauty is that it depends on who you are. You understand? If not, let's say for you, it's very tough to give a penny. It's very tough. What? And you in your head, it's like, these people, they can't go work. What? They went to work, and they can't go to work. So imagine someone like that. It's so tough for him. It's so difficult for him. And then one day, there's this poor man that knocks on his door. She tells him, please, I have 4 kids. I'm in a horrible situation. Please help me. And him, I don't know, he gets, he fights with himself, so I have to help her. How can I give her $5? I know it's not going to help her. Look, I just bought myself a Maserati. He's fighting with her. Boom, $2,000 check. Now he's burning inside. He's like, well, how can I do this? Like he's doing, and he gives her the check. Now she goes, she has a wonderful Shabbos, she takes care of the kids, she pays all the bills. Oh, Hashem. So they're a huge mitzvah. But the guy's a billionaire, might give her $2,000. But now this $2,000 is worth worth 1,000,000 times more than if, let's say, you give $2,000. Why? Why is it $2,000? No, it's not. Because if you're out of nature and you worked out that it's very easy for you to give or to do things, then the mitzvah, when it's harder, it's a higher mitzvah. Okay, very good. Now we're going to do Bechava, do the first chapter of laws of cooking. So introduction.
Be sure.
Got you some water here if you like.
It's a regular effort to prepare food. Animals eat their food raw in its natural state, but this is insufficient for man, whose nature is far more refined and complex. Man must produce his own food. First, he must prepare the ground. He must remove the stones and then plow, plant, weed, and prune. Yet even after the wheat has ripened, it is still unfit to be eaten. In order to obtain the edible kernels, he must thresh and winnow. Even then, the grains remain inedible until they are cooked. To make bread, he must go further. He must grind the kernels, remove the chaff, sift the flour, knead the dough, and bake it. Had Adam not sinned, food preparation would have been effortless and simple. Man would have gone into the field, plucked delicious baked goods and rich food off the trees and eaten them. If he felt like it, he would work a little bit in the field and season his food for taste. The sages inform us that in the future, after we have rectified Adam's sin, we will return to this state. Delicious baked goods and pretty clothes will grow on trees in Eretz Yisrael. But in the meantime, man must toil and struggle in order to produce even a single loaf of bread. This is according to God's statement to Adam after the sin. The land is cursed on your account. In sorrow you will eat from it all the days of your life. It will bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat bread until you return to the ground. The sin caused all of nature to deteriorate, and what grows from the earth is often insufficiently pure and evolved to consume in its natural state. Man must perform many steps to turn the earth's produce into edible food. On Shabbat, we ascend to a level that approaches the world to come. We connect to a level beyond sin, beyond the need to work in order to improve the world. This enables us to understand the inner significance of all melachot. With this knowledge, there are 11 melachot connected to growing food: sowing, plowing, reaping, gathering, threshing, winnowing, separating, grinding, sifting, kneading, and cooking and baking. Three additional melachot are necessary to produce animal-based foods: trapping, slaughtering, and skinning. We'll begin today with the Halacha of Bishul, as it is the most relevant to us today.
Very good.
Chapter 2.
So Bishul is the malacha that prepares or improves food, whether through seething, baking, or roasting. What defines this malacha is that food is prepared by means of fire's heat. The food is softened by the heat, and the taste within it merges to create a new taste, which is intense and contains a variety of flavors. Cooking initially softens food, and most foods remain soft after being cooked. However, there are some foods that harden in the course of cooking, like eggs. Similarly, the process of roasting softens the food at first, but eventually makes it tougher. Torah law prohibits cooking, and this prohibition even includes foods that can be eaten raw. The cooking improves them in some way. For example, although one can certainly drink cold water, nevertheless, since cooking improves the water, doing so is prohibited by Torah law. Cooking foods that are not improved by this process is not prohibited by Torah law, but it is still prohibited rabbinically. One who cooks using fire or something that was heated by fire, right? So, for example, so one cooks using fire or something that was heated by fire, transgresses the Torah prohibition. Therefore, if one heats a frying pan on the fire, then turns off the fire and fries an egg in the hot frying pan, he has transgressed the Torah prohibition. This is the case even though the pan was no longer on the fire during the actual frying. Any accepted form of cooking is prohibited by Torah law. Therefore, one who cooks in a microwave transgresses the Torah prohibition, because nowadays this is one of the normal ways of cooking. Before we explain the laws of Bishul in detail, we will preface them by saying that there are three types of prohibition relevant to Bishul. So three types. The one, Bishul by Torah law. Rabbinic enactments that forbid doing anything that might cause someone to turn up a flame. Rabbinic enactments that forbid doing anything that resembles cooking. To determine whether one may do a particular action, you must examine it from these three perspectives to elaborate. Number one must clarify if his action is forbidden because it qualifies as Bishul. Any action that leads to food transformation from a raw state to a cooked state is prohibited by Torah law. Number two, from the perspective of Torah, the prohibition of Bishul, one may leave food on the fire when Shabbat begins with the intention that we'll continue cooking on Shabbat. Right? So according to the Torah, if you just leave your whatever you want on right before Shabbos, it cooks on Shabbos, no problem. Right? Or let's say you're cholent, there's no problem. From the perspective,
you can't change the heat.
No, you can't. But here is going to explain what's the extra measures from the rabbinic. Number two, from the perspective of the Torah prohibition of Bishul, one may leave food on the fire when Shabbat begins with the intention that we'll continue cooking on Shabbat. However, the sages prohibit doing so when it may be necessary to adjust the heat due to the concern that one may forget it is Shabbat to turn up the flame, thus transgressing the Torah prohibition of Mavir and Bishul. So that's why, let's say you have your oven, and your oven, you can't put food on it because that wasn't cooked. For example, let's say you're going to put a steak in your oven, raw, and then you're putting it inside, and then you're like, oh, what's happening here? I want to eat it tonight, so I'm going to put up a little bit of the heat, right? So that's an issue. So that's what we're going to say. Let's say in a plata, different places where we're not worried that you can turn off the heat. Okay, or you're going to put a sign. You're going to put. That's why even on the blech they put aluminum, or they put something else on it, or they cover the knobs, right? Thus, addressing the Torah provisions is mavir and bishul. Mavir is to light a flame, and bishul to cook. Now the fire is covered, as in the case of a plata. Very good, Jeremy. Why don't place food on it? Because there is no chance I will forget it is Shabbat and turn up the flame. Even if the food is fully cooked, and thus there is no concern that one will turn up the flame, the sage is still forbid doing anything that looks like cooking. Therefore, one may not put fully cooked cold food directly on the fire. However, one may put such food far from the heat source in such a way that it does not look like cooking, as we'll explain in section 1821. There's a disagreement whether placing a food on a plate that looks like cooking and is thus forbidden. Okay? Very good. Number 3.
10.3. Bishul cooked cookie is prohibited. Reheating cooked food is permitted.
A fundamental rule, right, of the laws of Shabbos?
Fundamental rule of the laws of Shabbos is the one may not create a new entity. During the other 6 days of the week, we emulate God, whose image we will create by busying ourselves with creating and developing. We take the raw materials of the world and develop and improve them, thus continuing the work of creation. Just as the Creator ceased creating on Shabbat, so too we are commanded to emulate God's attributes by establishing Shabbat as a day of holiness and rest. It is a day when we desist from creating new things and thus enable ourselves to contemplate the world as God created and to increase our faith. This principle is the principle behind the bishul as well. Cooking is forbidden because it changes the food from raw to cooked, thus giving it a new identity. But if the food is already cooked, there is no prohibition of reheating it, as reheating does not create a fundamentally new substance. Even when the reheating improves the taste, it is still not prohibited, following the accepted principle in bishul, ahar bishul. There is no prohibition of cooking something that has already been cooked. Therefore, the following question is critical to the law of bishul. When is the food deemed cooked? If it is considered cooked, then one may reheat it on Shabbos. And if it is not considered cooked, one may not do so. Some of the greatest Rishonim disagree on this question. Some maintain that if the food can be eaten in a pinch, bishul no longer pertains to it. However, in practice, it is agreed that the food is considered cooked only when it is fully cooked, and one could serve it to a guest without feeling compelled to apologize. Before that point, even if one could technically eat it in a pinch, it is not considered cooked. Therefore, in practice, it is important to determine whether a food is mevushal or cold circle. As long as it is not mevushal or cold circle, any action that takes place in temperature and cooking process is prohibited by Torah law. For example, the heat of the process is often uneven. There are hotter and colder places on its surface. One may not move a food that is not yet fully cooked from its current place to a hotter place on the platter. Similarly, one may not put a towel over the food to contain the platter's heat more effectively. Furthermore, if one removes the cover of a pot in order to check the food is fully cooked, and it becomes clear that it is now, it is forbidden to replace the cover, because doing so will make the food cook faster. However, if the food is fully cooked, one may put it to a hotter place, and if he took off the cover, he may replace it. Furthermore, one may cover the pot with a towel to preserve its heat. One may do so even if it improves the food's taste, as it doesn't choke. Similarly, one may remove fully cooked meat from the freezer and heat it in a way that does not resemble cooking. See section 18. For it is an accepted principle that after food is classified as cooked, it is no longer further to be heated. All this refers to solid foods. Liquid foods involve additional issues that will be commented upon in sections 5 and 6. Cholent is considered fully cooked, even if the bones in it are not soft, and one may cover it to preserve its heat. However, if one is accustomed to eat the bones, then as long as they are not yet cooked, the food is not deemed fully cooked, and one may not cover it to preserve the heat. 10.4.
Very good. So just here we're saying that that's why my wife ideally she prefers to have the cholent already cooked. So then before Shabbos. This is the easiest way. You don't have to put anything on the platter. But actually, Ashkenaz are more machmir also with that, right? Because they don't take food directly from the fridge and put them on the platter. So usually either they have a timer on the platter, so the platter starts off by itself, therefore it's not already hot, or they just have food from the day before and they were stayed on the platter all night.
Gets all dried out. No, it's fine.
Yeah, but it's very low temperature, so it depends on the. Okay, let's do the last one here. So Yad Toleded Bo. A fundamental issue in the laws of Shabbat is establishing the temperature of Yatzel Rebbo, the temperature at which the hand recoils. The sages state that this is the minimum temperature that is still capable of cooking food. However, it is uncertain precisely what this term refers to. Does it refer to a level of heat that the hand can only stand to touch for a few seconds? If so, this would be approximately 71 Celsius. Naturally, does it refer to a level of heat that becomes unpleasant for one's hand after 2 minutes? If so, this would be approximately 45 degrees Celsius. According to many poskim, since the matter remains in doubt, one must be stringent. Heat of 45 degrees Celsius may be considered capable of cooking. Thus, one may not put raw food into a pot that has reached a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius or higher. Similarly, one may not place raw food near enough to a fire that could reach 45 degrees Celsius or higher. The definition is also important for how the laws of Bishul apply to water. One may not raise the temperature of water from below Yatzel Ledbo to Yatzel Ledbo or higher, right? However, if the water has already reached Yatzel Ledbo, it's considered cooked. One may continue to heat it further. Because in the whole Bishul Achav Bishul, you cannot have cooking after cooking. Cold water may be left near the plata as long as the water is in a place where it would not reach Yatzel Ledbo, even if it remained there for an entire day. Right, because it's not going to ever get to the point of cooking. So under 45 degrees, it's never considered cooking. Thus, in practice, one must be careful not to heat water to between 45 degrees and 71 degrees. So we don't know the precise temperature of Yatzel Ledbo. Any heating that range may be considered bishul. One may heat it outside of this range. For example, if water has been heated to 71 degrees Celsius, one may then put the water in a place where it will get hotter, because at the end, bishul acha bishul. So either you have 71 and more, or you have 44 and less. Okay, very good. So we'll finish with this.